This remarkable true story took place in London, where John Rendell and his friend Ace Bourke were strolling through the city's iconic mall, Harrods, when they stumbled upon something extraordinary that would alter their lives forever. Within a spacious cage, illuminated by the light, stood a lion cub with golden fur, observing his surroundings with curious eyes. At that time, Harrods was famous not only for its luxury goods, but also for its exotic animal department. The cub's name was Christian, and he appeared visibly distressed, as he was far from his natural habitat. Harrods officials explained that the cub had come from an ill-formed zoo, and if a buyer could not be found, he would be relocated. John and Ace had to make a quick decision. The lion shouldn't live inside such a cold cage in a shopping mall. His place was in the vast expanses of Africa. That's why they bought Christian for 250 guineas. However, it would not be easy to raise a lion in London. Nevertheless, they wanted to help him, and a new life had started for Christian. Now he was free from the cage. John and Ace knew that they couldn't take him to their apartment. Fortunately, the large basement of the furniture store they owned would be a safe home for him. He was quite calm in his first days, curling up on the soft cushions and watching around attentively. But over time, as befits the nature of a lion, he became more active. He was jumping on the furniture and rushing around the store. It seemed that Christian might not fit in this city as he grew up. It was impossible to walk him through the crowded streets of London, but a solution was found in the Moravian churchyard. With the permission of the priest, Christian could roam freely and play games there. In time, the neighborhood got used to this extraordinary guest. However, Christian was growing up, and no matter how domesticated he was, an apartment basement or a store could not be a permanent solution. One day, Bill Travers and Virginia McKenna, actors from the famous movie Born Free, came to the store to see Christian. They saw how well he was being cared for, but they were worried about his future too. Virginia McKenna sighed as she stroked Christian's head. "He seems happy here," she said, but she added that he couldn't stay here forever. McKenna was actually right. John and Ace already knew that, but they were not sure what to do. They needed guidance on how to proceed, and that's when Bill Travers suggested a name to them: George Adamson. George Adamson was an expert who rehabilitated lions in Kenya and returned them to the wild. A big name and a strong pioneer in his profession, he was the best option for Christian. Following a long correspondence, Adamson agreed to take Christian, and so London's beloved lion set off for Africa, his real homeland. The hot weather of Kenya was a far cry from the foggy days of London. When John and Ace arrived with Christian, a whole new world lay ahead of them. George Adamson took Christian to the Korg National Reserve, where there were vast wild landscapes. However, there was one big question mark. A lion raised in the city, could it survive here? How hard would it be? How long would it take to get used to it? For John and Ace, it became a matter of parenting. Christian was very precious to them. The first days were difficult for Christian. At night, the sounds of the wilderness made him restless. Jackal howls, leopard roars, elephant grunts, they were all foreign to him. He spent his first nights close to John and Ace's tent, and they were always watching Christian from a distance. When John slept, Ace watched him through binoculars. He was always on their minds, but Christian's instincts eventually kicked in. His biggest challenge was learning to hunt. In London, he had been fed the best meat, but here he had to catch his own food. He failed at his first attempts. He ran but could not catch his prey, and sometimes he would give up and look at John and Ace. Perhaps it would take time to get used to it. He had come from a small, confined space into the African wilderness. Here was home, but he had been away for a long time. One day, everything changed. Christian watched a gazelle intently and attacked unexpectedly, catching his first prey. He was now a hunter. That first prey gave Christian self-confidence. Over time, Christian learned not only to hunt, but also to be a leader. Lions in Africa don't live alone, they form a pride. It was the biggest turning point for Christian when two lionesses joined him. One of them was a strong and fast lioness named Catan, and the other, the younger one, Na, looked up to Christian with admiration. Thus, Christian formed his own pride. John and Ace's eyes filled with tears as they watched Christian from a distance. He was already a wild lion, standing like a king, and that meant the goodbye was close. Maybe it was time to leave him alone. That's when they realized that goodbye was imminent. The hardest moment for John and Ace was saying goodbye to Christian. They had bought him from a pet shop and raised him as a friend, but now he had found his way to his real home. It was a goodbye that had to happen, no matter how much they would miss him. When the day came to say goodbye, Christian looked into the eyes of his friends. He felt something had changed. He realized they were going to leave him. John put his head in his hands. "We did what was best for you," he whispered. Ace couldn't hold back his tears either. Then Christian took a few steps backward and did something unexpected. He turned and sprinted deeper into the forest. That's how he overcame the sadness he felt inside, by hastening the separation. John and Ace thought they would never see him again. There were tears in their eyes, but they hid them from each other. Christian kept running away, but fate had a different plan for them. Time passed quickly, and John and Ace returned to Kenya after a year to see Christian. They would experience something they would never forget again in their lives. When they came to the area where he was last seen, George Adamson warned them. He said Christian was no longer a wild lion, that he wouldn't remember them, and that it would be dangerous. It had been a long time since they had seen Christian, and they didn't know what to expect now that he was a cub when they brought him here. But John and Ace were eager to see him. It was a crazy idea. He was already back in his natural habitat and acting like an ordinary lion. Still, they wanted to see him to check if he was all right. In London, their minds were always on Christian. After days of waiting for a glimpse of the pride, a shadow emerged in the distance, a large and powerful lion. Could it be him? Had Christian grown into such a magnificent wild creature? The lion paused for a moment, sniffing the air and gazing intently. Then, as he recognized them, he began to run faster and faster. John called out to Ace, "It's definitely Christian." Unsure of what to do, they stood there filled with excitement and anxiety. Suddenly, something extraordinary occurred. Christian lifted his front legs, wrapped them around John's shoulders, and rested his head against him. He had never forgotten his old friends. This embrace was a testament to their enduring friendship and deep affection. Witnessing this moment, Adamson was astonished. He had never seen anything like it in all his years working in the wild. Christian and his friends seemed to be reconnecting, as if engaged in a heartfelt conversation. After a while, Christian sat up, signaling that he needed to go. Ace and John understood as he ventured deeper into the forest once more. This moment would forever remain etched in their memories. What do you think of this story? Let us know in the comments section. I hope you like this story. Please give it a thumbs up and share it with your loved ones. Also subscribe and press the bell icon to never miss the update from our channel. Thank you.